in the recent trend of weird reboots that definitely did not need to happen. Wonka! Wonka starts by introducing us to the already familiar Willy Wonka, who is played by Timothy Chalamet. And for some unknown reason he is dressed like the Muppet Gonzo. He has arrived in this fictional British town, which I believe we never catch the name of. He immediately loses all of his money by thieving inhabitants while singing a happy little tune. With no money in his pocket for a place to sleep, he decides to crash on a park bench, where he is approached by someone who knows a free place to sleep. He has to sign a contract for this though, and he gets warned by a little girl for reading the small print. But luckily, he can't read at all, so it doesn't matter anyway.
That sign can't stop me, because I can't read.
Then, we discover that his great gift in life is that he is a very talented chocolate maker or magician. But honestly, he might just be selling edibles, because his chocolates all have these weird ass special abilities. And his ambition is to open up a store in the Gallery Gourmet. But this square is already the property of Slugworth and 2 other chocolate makers who are just there for unfunny comedic relief. They then call the cops, because they are threatened by him and he is illegally selling chocolate, which is the equivalent of calling the cops on a kid with a lemonade stand. The cops take him away and Wonka ends up with just enough money to pay back his room. But in the fine print of the contract, it says that there are a few additional fees that he should also pay back. He doesn't have the money for these new expenses, so he has to make it back by serving in the laundromat for 27 years to make back the ridiculous debt that he owes. This is where he meets 5 other people who are also in the same boat as him. This all seems very unethical. But yeah, I don't know British law. It's a hell over there anyway, so it wouldn't surprise me if this was the normal way of doing things over there. Later, Mr. Wonka talks to the little girl from before, who is called Noodle, who the couple runs the scam found behind a dumpster or something. To bond, they go out in the middle of the night to milk sorry, is that a typo? A giraffe? After this, they decide to go and work together. And they figure out a plan to illegally sell chocolate with the 5 other prisoners. The police then try to catch them because they are being bribed with chocolate by the chocolate cartel. In the meantime, Wonka watches this little orange man with green hair who is played by Hugh Grant, who was very vocal about disliking his role in the movie. This little guy, called an Oompa Loompa, steals his chocolate in the middle of the night because Wonka once stole 1 cacao bean from him. Remember this guy, he will be important later. Later, Wonka finally has enough money to open up his shop and legally sell chocolate. But the chocolate cartel has tampered with his formula, so that the chocolate gives everyone colored facial hair. And only logically, the townsfolk decide to set his store on fire. After this, the cartel offers money to make every prisoner pay back their debt if Wonka gives up on his dream, and he obliges. He steps on a boat to go back to where he came from, but it turns out that there was a fucking bomb on this boat and they were trying to assassinate him. He swims back to the shore and meets up with his friends, and they decide to bring down the cartel once and for all. They go to this church, they sneak by Mr. Bean using a giraffe, and then they go into this big vault, where they find out that Noodle is actually the sister of Slugworth. They then try to drown Wonka and Noodle in chocolate, but the Oompa Loompa saves them by draining the chocolate, because Wonka still owes him. They escape and they hand over the book with all the bribes to the police, who suddenly really care about justice and not being bribed. And in the end, Noodle finds her real mom back and reunites, and Wonka starts a new chocolate factory, which all of a sudden everyone trusts and loves now. Timothee Chalamet was really good. He was really childish and fun. He was very charismatic as a lead, but sometimes he delivered lines in a way that just made my toes curl from cringe.
So quiet up and listen down.
What I did not expect, however, was the overflow of songs that were just bombarded towards me. There were 11 musical songs, which comes down to 1 every 10 minutes. And I must say that most of them were really fun. I liked the Scrub song, and the opening one was really cute to get to know the character. However, this movie is definitely made for kids. I still enjoyed it, but I'm definitely not the target audience for this film. This childishness also shines through in the humor, which is very surface level and mostly not funny. Not a lot of the jokes land, but my nephew was having a blast. But there were still a lot of adult themes though. Trying to make your parents proud and follow your dreams, starting your own business against bigger competition, and even getting into crippling debt. Come on, this just sounds like the average experience for a starter in the business sphere these recent years. The visual aspects were also pretty cool. Even though the film obviously had heaps of CGI, it still felt lived in and magical. The sets look cool, but I would have preferred it if they tried to have more practical solutions.
Thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please leave a like or perhaps subscribe. And as always, have a very pleasant day.